called Lyceum. To get started, I'm just going to go right into it and introduce our teacher, medium, and healer, Reverend Dr. Don Zanghi.
Today? Somebody mentioned about the church being open, and for years there's been a discussion whether this is a temple or a church. So I'll just straighten it out before I get started. We hold church services in a temple. Here we go. Okay. We're now having Lyceum in the temple. Well, for many, many years it was in the Davis building. We'd have it in the Davis building, then walk down here for the church service in the temple. I know because I was part of that for 30 years. But when I first came here, 30 years ago, Lyceum was right here in this corner. 4, 5 people, 6. One time we had 8 people. We were ecstatic. But it has grown, and this is a good thing. Lyceum is a class, so you can be a little more free, hang out. Once the church service starts, then you gotta mind your P's and Q's and be well behaved, but you don't have to hear. So what we're gonna talk about today? I don't know, let me see. Deja Vu, Astral Projection, out-of-body experiences, bilocation, remote viewing, travel and clairvoyance. Lyceum, check it out. I think the first thing I want to deal with is deja vu. And the reason I want to talk about deja vu is because it's so misunderstood. And there was a particular medium in the media who wrote many, many books who messed it up pretty bad. And so I'm here to kind of straighten out what deja vu is. Deja vu means already seen, whether we're dealing with past or even future, mostly future. It is the uncanny sensation that you have experienced something even when you know that you never have. It's quite common. It happened to my wife the other day. She knew what was going to happen before it happened. That's deja vu. Now this particular person I'm talking about, and I won't mention names, claimed that all deja vu is from past life experiences. So, in 1998, I was in Las Vegas for a week. 3.5 days of being with the Metaphysical Convention, and 2.5 days enjoy Las Vegas. I remember being in the Luxor, that's the one that's shaped like a pyramid, and I knew, every time I turned a corner, I knew what was there. I knew what the people were doing. I knew what they were saying. I've been there. No, I haven't been there before. It's my first time in Las Vegas. And that's deja vu. I knew it. Now, how could I know? If we remember that consciousness is non-local, all there is consciousness. Everywhere, all the time, at all places. So what happens in this case is that part of me was so excited to go to Las Vegas. I was going to receive a diploma from the University of Metaphysics, that at some point went ahead of me and experienced it, because in that plane of existence there's no time and there's no space. So was I there? This was not there, but my mind was there ahead of time. So I was experiencing what my mind experienced in real time. You understand that?
Yes.
That's another form of deja vu. One reason we talk about it being past life is because General George Patton, remember him? He recalled so many experiences during his wartime as a warrior, as a soldier. There's so many places he was on the battlefield. He said, this feels so familiar. I've been here before. In fact, there's a book Many Lives, Many Battles. It's about George Patton and his experiences, experiencing past life in this lifetime. So that's another form of deja vu. Past, present, whatever. We can't limit it to just what one person in a book says. There's much more to it than that. And it's very common. Again, as I said, the mind goes ahead and experiences it. The body's home. And then when you go there, you say, oh, I've never been here before. The mind says, yeah, but I was. I've been here. And so that's how it works. Any questions about that? Okay. I'm going to talk about astral projection because, again, a lot of misinformation about it. Unless you are a professional, unless you know what you're doing, I would stay away from trying to have an astral projection experience. It's dangerous. The situation there is this. Let's say you're going to go on vacation. And when you leave the house, you leave all your doors open, all your windows open, all the lights on, and you leave. Now when you come home, if you find other people living in your house, would it surprise you? No, I don't think so. Because when you leave in your astral body, you leave your body wide open, many, many things can come in, right? And they can cause a serious problem. Now, if you want to know about astral projection, just about every night when you fall asleep, your astral body travels. Now, how that happens is a bigger class than I have time for today. But this is why sleep is important. If you are sleep deprived for a period of time, you're going to die. So when you sleep, you have the physical body, the etheric body, which is actually an invisible part of your physical body, and then interpenetrating it is your astral body, your mental body, your spirit body. So when you sleep, the etheric body expands to make room for prana, life force energy to come in. That's when you sleep and you wake up in the morning, you're revitalized, like getting a pumping gas in your car. But because of that expansion, the astral body then takes off. You might call it dreams. Dreams are a function of the astral plane. So you are traveling, but it's natural. It's not forced. I'm saying don't force it. There's a thing we have in this country that's because we know about something, we're supposed to do something about it. And I don't believe that's always true. So you can read about astral projection, but I would say don't. There's all kinds of books because people make money. Don't try it. Dangerous. But understand that when you're having dreams, you aren't really astrally projecting. Now, there's another form of this I want to talk about. Years ago, when I was a practicing metaphysical hypnotist. And I had my office in downtown DeLand. And a woman came to me, I knew her from here in Cassadaga. We used to take classes right down the street down here. And so I helped her with some stuff. And one of the things we did when she was under hypnosis, she was telling me that friends of hers in South Carolina, they were antique collectors, red flag, antique collectors. They were having poltergeist activity in their house. And she wanted to know if there's something we could do about it. I said, well, let's see. During hypnosis, I facilitated her astrally traveling to that house. She's been in the house before, so she knows it. And again, the mind is non-local, so she doesn't have to get in the car. The mind just targets the house. And while she was in the house, we did do some work. We found some spirit energy attached to some antiques. Well, we sent them on their way. As she went up the stairs, she saw on the wall a framed picture that had not been there before when she had been in the house. You follow? After the session, I said, go home and check with your people up there and see if the activity has stopped. Well, the poltergeist activity did stop. And then she asked her friends, at the top of the stairs, do you have a framed picture that wasn't there before when I was there? The answer is yes. Which means her consciousness, her mind, was in the house. Now that's a form of astral projection that is facilitated by a professional. That's different than what I'm saying, somebody reading a book and trying to do it. Very dangerous. Do you understand the difference in what I'm saying? Okay. So we're dealing with the mind. We're dealing with consciousness in all of this. All right? Now, another one that's related to astral projection is what we call OBEs, out-of-body experiences. And many people that have the near-death experience talk about their astral bodies going around traveling, or people under anesthesia. The consciousness leaves and they watch themselves having the operation. Or people under extreme stress, part of it evacuates and they can watch it. Now there's much more to it than what I want to get into, but this is out-of-body experience. To me, the difference between out-of-body experience and the astral projection is astral projection, you're in the astral plane, a different world altogether. Out-of-body experience, you're in this plane, you're in the earth plane, traveling, watching things right here. You see the difference? Okay. There's a neat little book, Return from Tomorrow by George Ritchie. George Ritchie was one of the first people that Dr. Raymond Moody, worked with in his landmark research on out-of-body experiences and things like that. In this book, George Ritchie, during his near-death experience, was traveling in the earth plane. And for some reason, he was attracted to a bar. Not your local little bar to go for a beer, but one of these bars down in the waterfront where the sailors go to get drunk. You know what I'm saying? So I'll pick it up here. As I stared, stupefied, The identical scene was repeated. A man passed out. A crack swiftly opened in his aura around him. One of the non-solid people vanished as he hurled himself at the opening, almost as if he had scrambled inside the other man. Remember I said about leaving the doors open and the windows open? This is what alcohol and drugs can do for you. Was that covering of light some kind of shield? He's talking about the light that people have around them, the aura. Was it a protection against disembodied beings like myself? Presumably, the substanceless creatures had once been solid bodies, yeah, earthbound spirits. As I myself had. Suppose that when they had been in these bodies, they had developed a dependence on alcohol that went beyond the physical. It became mental, spiritual even. Then when they lost that body, except when they could briefly take possession of another one, they would be cut off for all eternity from the thing that they never stopped craving, known as an alcohol addiction in this case. An eternity like that, the thought sends a chill shuddering through me. Surely that would be a form of hell. I had always thought of hell, when I thought of it at all, as a fiery place somewhere beneath the earth where evil men like Hitler would burn forever. But what if one level of hell existed right here, on the surface, unseen and unsuspected by the living people occupying the same space? What if it meant remaining on earth, and never again able to make contact with it? I thought of that, but then she goes on and on. At some point in here, he's talking about how the disembodied spirits in the bar would fight to get into one of the sailors that was drunk. One would jump in, one would jump out, one would jump in, one would jump out. This is the problem with out-of-body experience. When it's not controlled, when it's not natural, he's witnessing this when he's on an out-of-body experience. Everybody follow this? Okay. I don't want to get into teaching about the problems of alcohol and drug abuse. It should be obvious to most everyone here. Okay, we're going to continue. This one is very rare. Very rare. It's called bilocation. This is where you are physically in two places at the same time. Not too many people have experienced that throughout history. Not too many people in the literature that we know about. It's been said, and I can't verify it, it's been said that Andrew Jackson Davis, who the building is named after, was able to accomplish being two places at the same time physically. It's been written that Saint Germain, the Ascended Master, could be in two places at the same time physically. And there's a story about the previous holy man in India, Sai Baba, that I had an opportunity to see in the year 2000 in India. Sai Baba never left India. In fact, he was under the microscope at all times. If he went from one room to the other, everybody knew it. He was never out of sight. That's how popular, how well known he was. He would manifest things. He'd go like this and hand you a ring or hand you something. And one person, he manifested a watch. Now this guy looked at the watch and there was still a price tag on it. He said the watch came from a jeweler in California. So immediately he thinks, oh, this Sai Baba's a fake. He goes, gets watches in California and comes back and makes like he hands it to you. So this guy checked it out. He went to that jewelry store in California, and the clerk said yes. There was a little guy here with big hair and an orange robe. He bought the watch. The thing is, Sai Baba never left India. That's by location. Don't ask me how it works. It's very rare, but it has happened. So you should know about it. It's extremely rare, but apparently a fact. Okay. Stop me if there's questions. You know, this is a class. Later when there's a church service, you gotta sit and be quiet. Yeah. Maybe I kind of missed it up in the Davis building. It's kind of a wild time, you know. If you ever, go ahead.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of things. Is remote viewing part of what you were saying as far as somebody controlling a person being able to view another area? Are you getting into that? Okay.
Yes, remote viewing is another one that I want to spend a lot of time on. Heck, this is the next one. Stop it. She reads my mind. Okay. You guys are late. Did you bring a note? You got a hall pass?
Yes.
Loosen up, guys. Loosen up.
They were up at the building. They thought you were up there.
Okay. Everybody and his brother and sister is writing a book on remote viewing. Everybody and his brother and sister is giving a seminar on remote viewing. And I got news for you. It ain't remote viewing. It's another way for them to make money when they're doing something that isn't what it really is. Remote viewing was established by the military and intelligence agencies of the United States of America. When they recruited people for training, they weren't so much interested in any psychic ability. They were interested in getting people that would do exactly as they were told. Because if you follow the protocols, you might become a good remote viewer. Now, remote viewers for the government, for the military, have very strict protocols. They have a target, they have coordinates, they have a facilitator, they work in teams, and they never work alone. Meaning that if they're doing reconnaissance work, they work in tandem with what I call boots on the ground, the irregular ways of receiving intelligence, meaning spies and intercepted communications and things like that. Now, one of the famous remote viewers, sometimes on TV you see them when they're doing a special on remote viewing, Joe McMonagle. Anybody know the name? I know you do. It's your book I'm using. Joe McMonagle. How many of you know about the Monroe Institute? Okay, good. I was there in '97. I did it. And when I first called them about it, their big deal was if you go up there in the mountains of Virginia, outside of Charlottesville, middle of nowhere, using sound frequencies, they could facilitate an out-of-body experience, right? So when I called back to make the reservation, they said, "No, stop. If you're coming here, if you want to come here and use the sound, to raise your consciousness, you're welcome. And while you're here, you might have an out-of-body experience. Now, the Monroe Institute started by Robert Monroe using sound. His first guinea pig was Joe McMonagle. Now, there's a story about that, but I don't have time for that. So when I was up at Monroe Institute, I met Joe McMonagle. And the story he gave was this. You remember the Iran hostage situation in 1979? Jimmy Carter was the president. The Iranians held hostages there. So we have boots on the ground, and we have Joe McMonagle and his team giving intelligence about this hostage situation. The thing is, the remote viewing got it faster than boots on the ground. Understand? So the two of them worked together so the bigwigs in Washington and the Pentagon could figure all this out. When they were doing the remote viewing, it was almost like them watching television. They're seeing it in real time. And the interesting thing about it was that the boots on the ground said there's X number of hostages. The remote viewers said, no, there's this number, one more than they said, and they were right. The remote viewers were more correct than boots on the ground. It has to be done properly. And no one outside of the military is teaching true remote viewing. What they might be teaching, in essence, is what we call traveling clairvoyance, just like I did with the woman that went up to the house in South Carolina and saw things in the house in real time. Same thing. That's called traveling clairvoyance. I did a reading for a remote viewer, at least I tried to. He said, oh, don't worry about it. Nobody can read me. I'm a government remote viewer. Very difficult to read the man. Now I'm going to give you another story about remote viewing and how you can mess it up if you're not an official. Courtney Brown. Anybody know Courtney Brown? He wrote a book called Cosmic Voyage. I met Courtney Brown, or I saw Courtney Brown at a convention the Sunday before the Heaven's Gate people committed suicide. You remember that? Okay. Why did the Heaven's Gate people commit suicide? Because they heard about the mothership in the tail of Hale-Bopp Comet. Who told them about that mothership? Courtney Brown and his remote viewers. So, oh, in the tail of the Hale-Bopp Comet, there's the mothership. These people go, we're ready to go, and they killed themselves. Is there a mothership in the tail of Hale-Bopp? I doubt it. I doubt it. He was not a government remote viewer. So I can't trust that kind of work. And oh, by the way, I did a reading for a Heaven's Gate person. He said, how come you're still alive? Because I was there that day. Don't you love it? So we have to be careful when people tell us things, when we read things. Are they telling us what they want us to know? Are they really conversant in the topics that they're talking about? Out-of-body experiences, to travel, Deja Vu, remote viewing. Did you ever hear that? When?
Why can't you
Not read a remote viewer.
Oh, I couldn't do it. And he said, don't worry, no one can read me. So evidently reading a remote viewer is very difficult. I couldn't do it. He said, I don't know. All he says is don't worry because nobody can read me. So we had a little discussion about this. We got time. Yeah, I did a reading for a remote viewer underground, Heaven's Gate. Any other questions? We've got a few minutes here. Go ahead, Dennis.
Wasn't there a guy named John of God who came from South America? John of God.
John of God, what about him?
He was doing miracles. Is that at all connected?
No.
Not at all connected.
No. The whole story about John of God is not anything I want to get into. I know a number of people that went to South America to see John of God. I'm not spreading rumors, but it became clear that he's yet another one who got caught putting his hands where they don't belong. And maybe other parts too. But yeah, he helped a lot of people. But he was dealing with entities that would work through him. Yeah.
He was doing miracles, right?
If you want to call it miracles, I don't call it miracles. That's a tough word to deal with.
I just know he was very popular at one time.
Yes, he was very popular. I know a number of people that went down to be with him, and he gave excellent results for a lot of people. But he got caught. I think he's in prison right now. Don't quote me. He was in prison. He still might be. Because he took advantage where you don't. Not supposed to take advantage. You know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Don, there's another question from online.
Go ahead.
Is your opinion that aliens and other beings that come to this planet are here to help humans evolve?
Oh my God. Why don't I just spend 2 hours giving a talk, 2 hours in Titusville giving a talk? Okay. So we have Stephen Greer, who's a big part of the disclosure, right? And he claims that they are here to help us evolve. That they're benevolent, that they're here to help. Then you have the government people who say, and this is a quote, they are fallen angels, they're demonic, and they're here to take over. Okay? Wait a minute. Just say it. Long before those two things came out, I always talk, because I was very involved in this before I got more involved in Cassadaga. I was the UFO guy in Central Florida. That was me. They are like everybody else. In this world, we know there are people here to help us. I think a lot of them right in this room, a lot of them in Cassadaga are here to help. And we know the other side, there's a lot of people that want to do it there. And a whole bunch of people in between. Years and years ago, when I got involved in that work, a friend of mine was Jim Greenan, Jim and Mary Greenan. We used to have the UFO museum in Kissimmee. Jim was famous for saying, they lie like hell. So, who's to say? If you're, all you know is this and all you know is that, that's what you're going to believe. I personally don't think they're from other physical planets. I'm going to try and straighten this out since the question came over online. One letter of the alphabet I'm going to change. One letter. I'm going to change everything. From other planets, from other planes. Just take the T out. Because in those other planes, there are planets. There are planets in the astral plane. The astral plane that I've been talking about a lot today, I've always described like, it's like this but different. Never ever dreamed that maybe you went back to your old neighborhood. You knew it was a neighborhood, but it didn't look the same. Your house didn't look the same. You knew it was your house. It's like that but different. It's like looking through water. You're not going to see it properly. So the whole UFO alien thing is I've never met Stephen Greer. Some of my associates have. Some of you were there, I think. I did a 2-hour talk on the disclosure, all 6 pages of it. I've been waiting for the disclosure for 56 years, going back to high school, and I get 6 pages. They say 9, but I'm not going to count the cover, you know, in the index. So it's an up in the air story that's not really pertinent to this. It could be. I could make the stretch, but I don't have time. Go ahead, Marcy.
I was surprised. I saw Stephen Greer asked about his personal experiences, and it turns out, he says, that he has been personally taken by aliens up to the ship since he was a child. So he's got an agenda, too.
Yeah. You will find a lot of people get involved because they've had their own experience. I've also found that people that have experiences tend to do the research from a certain point of view. Without getting into great detail, research on me, the question was asked, why has Don not had these types of experiences? The answer came back so he can do his research. Balanced research, you know, not putting my agenda into it because I had no agenda. Okay, so a lot of people get into it because they have the experience.
I was very surprised when I heard him say that, when he said
Well, he probably wouldn't have said it except he was probably asked. Like a lot of things I don't say, but if you ask me, I'm not going to tell you. We got time.
Yeah.
Anything else? Go ahead. You got to help me with
Yep.
him.
Come on, John.
Do you think when you die, you get to know everything?
Do you think when you die you get to know everything?
No. No.
So the truth shall not set you free?
No. This is another form of misinformation that people put out or they believe. No. I will tell you that it's quite possible for some people that when they expanded awareness, better than they did here, because we're limited by the body. The eyes can see just so much, the ears can hear. You're limited. So you're not limited, but you don't know. No. No.
So that's the setting free.
You said, is that a free of the mind?
Well, yeah, it is. It is. See, all there is consciousness. For 2 hours based on karma. When the body drops off and the soul and the spirit leave, they are free, but they're not necessarily all-knowing. No. Mediums have to deal with this. Okay? If I bring through your Uncle Joe, and Uncle Joe's a about how you clue, but we might be able to assist you. You know, when I went to massage therapy school, I had a bunch of spirit guides came through to help me get through school. When I was done with school, they left. You see? But this idea about knowing everything, boy, I wish it were true. No. Anything else? Did you have
the woman to do the traveling and go look at the house because you were holding sacred space for her? Is that why it was safe to have a professional?
Safe for the woman to do the traveling with you because you held a sacred space for her.
Yes. I was facilitating it. So if there's any problem, I could bring her back. Yeah. Go ahead, John.
time he's
Wow. I've never heard that. Sometimes when you're dealing with consciousness, it can affect the physical body. Out there, everything out there is actually in here. And so if out there is in hand, and we screen. So yes, it can happen. I'll take one or two more because then we gotta get set up with research. I've covered. Oh, I want to show this book. Remote Viewing Secrets, a handbook by Joe Mavonico. All right. Thank you for letting me use it, Ron. This is your book. I'll give it back to you. He talks about this big book showing the mechanics that they have to go through for remote viewing. It says really good remote them. Just a few that are really good. I said he was up at the Monroe Institute. I met him up there. You know why? Because he married Robert Monroe's daughter. Mountain over is Walton's Mountain. Remember the TV show? Yeah, I could give stories about being at the time. One man. Did I ever meet Ingo Swan?
yeah.
No, but I know people that have. I never met him. Probably not too many people here remember my friend Pete Smith. He was here for a long time. He was one of my informal teachers. And he grew up in all of this stuff. He knew. One time we were searching the alien autopsy. Remember that? Pete one day goes, there's only two Collins. Andrews at the time was a preeminent. Last time I saw him was right outside here in the. So these, I knew, he always talked about Ingo Swan. He knew all these people. We were doing another project for something that did with the. And he goes, I think I'll call John White. John Dale and John White, big researcher, wrote the book Pole Shift. You know John White? Hey John, how you doing? This is Pete. I mean, I knew these people. I knew the people that knew the people. I talk about it in class, but enjoy the church service. Thank you. Now, let me do it.
Thank you,
You
sir.
want to hold that for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, do you mind if I take a picture of the books?